Is this on? There we go. Hi, everybody. Wow, a lot of people here. Future of broadcasting is in this room. Isn't it? Okay. Sounded a little doubtful there. Well, I had prepared a speech, but I don't believe I'm going to be doing it. Probably, I guess you'll be able to read it at some later date in another technology. Now, the irony is not lost on me on that. But I believe, first of all, let me thank you for inviting me. Broadcast television provided me with a way to avoid delivering pizzas for the rest of my life. And so I am deeply appreciative of that, and I feel really lucky to be able to have made a living in entertainment. David, do y'all meet him?
Oh yes, hello everyone. I'm sure you're all thrilled to see me. I have read this speech, and I don't want to embarrass you here, but especially since Charles Osgood just mentioned Edward R. Murrow's Wire in a Box. When I was reading the speech, I was thinking of that speech, and I was thinking of Newton Minnow's Vast Wasteland, and I was thinking here was somebody who, with a lot of good jokes thrown in, was saying something fairly important to exactly the right important audience. So I do hope that it gets out there somewhere, and I can, as moderator, I can sort of ask you some things that may touch on that. But this is also politically somebody who got in a lot of trouble not too many years ago for speaking out against a war where
what? You know, I'll do it. I try to be a good guest, you know, and when your host says, you know what, I don't know.
I just want to say that if I allow this, it's really reducing my role as moderator. But I don't mind, because I have read the first 2 pages, I think, at least to give people a taste. And then you can decide. This can be like American Idol. I can be, or going all the way back to original amateur hour, and we'll just do it by applause, and I'll be the meter.
Let's do it.
All right.
I feel like I have to be standing up for it, though. This thing's going to drag me down. This, so maybe we can move this over a little. Hello. I'm Tim Robbins. I'd like to thank you for the invitation to address you here at the National Association of Broadcasters. When I first received the invitation, I was a little confused because the last time I had contact with the national media, I seem to remember them telling me to shut the hell up. I'd like to start with an apology to Rush and Sean and Bill and Savage and Laura, what's her name? A few years ago, they told America that because I had different opinions on the wisdom of going to war, that I was a traitor, a Saddam lover, a terrorist supporter. I was undermining the troops. I was appealing at the time for the inspectors to have a little bit more time to find these weapons of mass destruction. I was a naive dupe. of left-wing appeasement, and how right they were. If I had known then what I know now, if I had seen the festive and appreciative faces on the streets of Baghdad today, if I had known then what a robust economy we would be in, the unity of our people, the wildfire of democracy that is spread across the Mideast, I would never have said those traitorous, unfounded, and irresponsible things. I stand chastened in the face of the wisdom of the talk radio geniuses, and I apologize for standing in the way of freedom. So when they asked me to come speak to you, I said, "Are you sure? Me?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, I have a tendency to say things that I believe at the time to be well-intentioned, but that are actually traitorous. And they said, "Sure, cool." And then I read the press release, and it said, "Mr. Robbins will be speaking about the challenges of new media and delivery systems." Oh, okay. But I just wanted you to know, I'm not sure I know what that fucking means. But it is an honor to be speaking to you here at this year's National Association of Broadcasting Convention, even if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I owe a lot to broadcast media. I got my start in radio in the early 20s. In my early 20s. And it was television, but these tremendous inventions have benefited us all. Radio has come a long way from the early days when families gathered around the trusty old Philco to listen to such programs as Superman and Sherlock Holmes and Amos and Andy. And thanks to music and sound effects, this magical medium was able to transport families to a place where a man could fly, a brilliant detective could solve the most perplexing of crimes, and two white guys could portray ridiculously offensive black stereotypes for the amusement of millions. The first broadcast occurred on Christmas Eve in 1906 at Brant Park, Massachusetts, when a man named Fessenden played his violin, sang a song, and read Bible verses into a wireless telephone of his own invention. His goal was to find financial backers, but no investor of the day believed that radio could ever replace that most popular leisure activity of the day, listening to the hoot owl while playing the zither as your 14-year-old niece bounced on your knee. Some of you may remember. It was all the rage in the early century. But soon broadcasting over the radio caught on, and zither playing and child molestation were a thing of the past. Radio reached a boom time during the Depression as people began to listen to and depend on radio to lift their spirits during that catastrophic economic crisis.